Hello and welcome to another video from Barcelona. Today we're at La Pau, which is at the end of the yellow line, and we're going to go down that line and look at some of the best things that Barcelona has to offer and potentially some of the rougher neighborhoods too. Let's see how it goes. Before coming to Barcelona this time, I had read that the city had become a lot more dangerous than it was 10 years ago, the last time that I visited, and there were particular areas that were meant to be ones to avoid: La Mina, El Raval, and around the Gothic Quarter, particularly at night. Crime apparently had increased, according to the residents as well, massively throughout the city. A lot of pickpocketing, but also home break-ins and things like that. So we're going to have a look at, is Barcelona a particularly dangerous place to visit? This area seemed okay to me. Nice graffiti mural, a lot of just housing blocks. I mean, a little bit grubby in parts, but an area is really what the people are like, and I suppose it is still daylight at the moment, so I'm sure after dark places can be different. But in terms of the places I've seen around the world, you know, there's a lot more dangerous seeming places than this. Anyway, there's plenty more to explore in this line than just this particular area, so we need a ticket for the metro. I'm using the T-Casual, which is €11.35 for 10 journeys, but there are also 2-day, 3-day, 4-day and 5-day tickets for Barcelona, which work out at about €7 or €8 per day. So you've got to work out how many days you're going to spend and what's the best value for you depending on what you're doing. And here we can see some of the stations on the yellow line that we're going to be passing or going through today. An important point about Barcelona metro tickets, if you are buying something for multiple journeys or covering multiple days, is that the ticket is going to have to be kept in good condition, kept flat, because it has to go through the ticket barriers before every journey. And here's the train arriving, so let's climb on board and get this journey underway. The vast majority of Barcelona's metro trains, as you can see here, are fairly modern, spacious, big, clean, and they're all just open. All of the carriages just connected together where you can walk through. And after a journey of a few minutes, we're getting off at Pueblanao station. Time to go for a wander outside and see what we can find. So we've got off a few stations down the line at Pueblanao, I think is how you say it. And at this point, all of the stations down by the beach should be close together. So we should be able to walk down to the beach and walk through them if possible. This area did immediately have a bit of a nicer, more upmarket vibe than La Pau where we started. It's a bit industrial, nicer restaurants, and we're getting close to the beach. Before getting to the beach, I did spot some cool graffiti and decided to pause for some potential thumbnails in front of this graffiti, but kept getting interrupted by random passers-by, pretty much mums with prams and kids and stuff. Have I decided to leave it in the video? Looks like it. Do I need some kind of shocking pause to make the thumbnail more clickable? I'm not really sure. But one thing that we can be sure of is that we're pretty close to the beaches of Barcelona. One thing that can definitely be said for Barcelona is it's a really sporty city, and there's a lot of outdoor facilities for sports. You can see the skate park, an athletics track here, and all around the city there's a lot of different venues. It's obviously hosted the Olympics before as well, so a very big sporting city. Today the perfect sport would probably be something like windsurfing. Listen to that. Trying really hard to fix the hair here, but it's not going to happen in this weather. Anyway, like and subscribe. Help me out. So typically the day that I decide to walk through a few metro stations right down by the beach, we get the windiest, chilliest day that I've been here. Today is my last day, so there was no other choice but to do this video, well, today, unless I did it yesterday. But it feels more like being by the seaside in England. Feels like the North Sea, chilly breeze, hair flying everywhere, some ships, everything looks cold. But we're going to continue on because there's some cool sights just away from the beaches. Hopefully we're not going to get robbed. Speaking of that, this beach area does feel really safe in daylight. I'm not sure what it's like at night, but I don't think any robbers are going to be out in this wind because just too much effort for anyone. After passing this rather glamorous looking marina and casino area, it was time to roughly follow the path of the yellow line and move away from the coast. Coming into view is the rather quirky and 18-metre tall sculpture known as David and Goliath, which consists of a large rectangular mask supported by 3 twisting stainless steel legs. Catalan artist Antoni Llena's unusual interpretation symbolises the rebirth of the old Somorrostro neighbourhood. The Somorrostro was a shanty town which occupied the area, which is now Villa Olímpica, from 1882 until it was torn down just prior to Franco's visit to Barcelona in 1966. Looking windswept from the beach. So we've reached Ciutadella, which is the next subway station, or a couple of subway stations from where we got off. And this should lead into a huge Ciutadella type park. We're going to see if that materialises on the way down to the park. I think the correct pronunciation is actually Ciutadella, but anyway, let me know in the comments. We're trying to roughly follow the path of the yellow line, which is leading us along this cool graffiti wall, but actually this is not the best way into the park. It's better to come from a different subway station on a different line, even though we've just passed the station that's actually called the same name as the park. It's not the best way around, but we get to see some cool skateboarding anyway. And after taking the long way around, here we are at one of the entrances to the park. Parc de la Ciutadella is a large public park encompassing 70 acres and including a zoo, lake, museums and statues. There are plenty of amenities for fun and relaxation too. The park for over 7 decades into the mid-19th century was the only green space in the city, and today it consists of historic and artistic wonders as well as cultural attractions for visitors, history buffs, families and those just looking for a place to relax. Here we are in Ciutadella Park. So actually approaching it from the subway station or the metro station is probably not the wisest unless you're following a specific track of the line like I am, because it's all walled around this side from behind. So when you get off at the subway station way over there, you can't actually get in from that side. You've got to go all the way around past, I think it's Franca train station, and in that way. But it's pretty spectacular. Let's have a look around. There are many interesting and impressive architectural structures, and the park is also dedicated to biodiversity, and the various trees planted here range from poplars to magnolias, nettles, foxgloves and brown pines. Many trees are over 100 years old. The park is also a haven for birdwatching and segways. There's also a rather impressive boating lake. I think the prices on this started from about €6 for a couple of people for half an hour. Let me know in the comments if you're a local or if you've got updated prices on that. And now we're heading over to the northeast corner of the park and my personal favourite, the Cascada Monumental. This stunning fountain was erected by Josep Fontserè and to a small extent Antoni Gaudí, who at the time was still an unknown student of architecture. Fontserè aimed to loosely make it bear resemblance to the Trevi Fountain in Rome. Just look at the colour of that water, really helping to brighten up what was quite a grey day. You could easily spend a good few hours in this park, and particularly if you get a nicer day than the one that I was filming on. Anyway, now we're going to head away from the park and go towards the Gothic Quarter. If you are visiting the park just normally and not following some kind of metro line journey, then this would be the better entrance to come in. And overall, it seemed as though people were having a really good time in and around the park. This rather large promenade leads us down to the Arc de Triomphe. Barcelona's triumphal arch was built by architect Josep Vilaseca as the main access gate for the 1888 Barcelona World Fair. The arch is built in reddish brickwork in the neo-Mudéjar style, and it echoes very similar structures in other cities around the world, particularly in Paris. And as if by magic, we're now coming out of Jaume station a little bit further down the yellow line and into the Gothic Quarter. The beautiful neighbourhood known as the Gothic Quarter is so called because it used to be the Roman village and thus has some remnants of its glorious past. Of course, these days, due to constant modernisation, it's easy to spot an ancient building next to some that are much more recent. Barcelona's Gothic Quarter contains a mixture of large peaceful squares and also quite narrow, labyrinth-like streets. Here we can see one of the largest squares containing Barcelona Cathedral, and there is a police presence also in the square, even though this is one of the more open areas, but you do have to be a bit careful of pickpockets and other petty criminals in the tighter streets where it can be more difficult to get away or easier to be targeted. I personally thoroughly enjoyed walking through this area and didn't feel in any immediate danger at all. Obviously, as I said, there is a police presence in some of the squares, and just even the tighter streets, there were plenty of people around. I can completely see how in a different time or situation, particularly after dark, if you went down a really small side street and there was a dodgy character there, how you could get into trouble, and there are plenty of YouTube videos that document that type of experience of Barcelona. But personally, having read a lot of, let's say, dodgy reviews before coming, I didn't feel under any particular danger during the entire trip, really. Obviously, generally, whenever you go travelling abroad, it's better to keep your wits about you, keep things stored in a safe place, don't have obvious valuables on display, don't try and stand out for negative reasons, if possible. Probably the place that did feel the sketchiest to me is where we are now at the other side of the Gothic Quarter on the famous La Rambla. But we're here to see the Mercado de la Boqueria. Now one of the most visited attractions in Spain, La Boqueria has been part of La Rambla's fabric for centuries. Early records show that Catalan farmers were already running temporary meat stalls on this part of La Rambla all the way back in 1217. Around every corner, La Boqueria's counters overflow with the freshest locally sourced ingredients. While some stands have taken a tourism-focused turn in recent years, others have been going strong as family-owned businesses for decades and still provide ingredients to top restaurants across Barcelona, including La Boqueria's very own tapas bars. Back out on La Rambla, daylight is fading fast, but that doesn't seem to be putting off the thousands of tourists that are still walking up and down. And yet another police car. Who said there was not enough police presence? If you have had a different experience of Barcelona, please let us know in the comments. Okay, so that's where we're going to finish the vlog for today. Got a nice little sunset in the background. If you enjoyed it, remember to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, just do all of those things on your screen, and I'll see you in the next video from another city or country. Bye.